Hello, I'm Carol Omart Behan, speaking to you from Light Spring Glen. It is nearly the middle of March of 2020, and I'm making this video to introduce the series of short videos I did last summer right here at Light Spring Glen in honor of Mary Oliver. I called them Summer Mondays with Mary. Mary Oliver had passed on in January of last year, and she was mourned world over, very likely mourned in her passing by you as well. So I was so conscious of how we were making our way through our first year without her. And even though there was comfort in having readily available her poetry, her vast trove of poems that she had written and shared with us during a lifetime in which went on with us. But I found myself just wanting to honor her as kind of helped me get to a point of just being more at ease, I guess, with having had to say goodbye. And so I made these little videos. If you've come to this channel prior to today, you may have seen then my Between the Realms videos that are new in 2020. And it was the short videos I'd made in the summer, last summer, that gave me kind of the nerve to go ahead and try something in a different vein. So Between the Realms was born. Well, these little videos, which are on Facebook, tucked into the history of my timeline, I realized I'd like to bring them over here and put them on this channel. So am in the process of doing so, and you may find the whole set of them by the time you hear this. So an introduction to tell you where they originated from and why. It's coming up with some way of saying what she meant to me, and it's for each of us who finds her poetry and her life, her wild and precious life, to inspire our own, and certainly it does mine. Each person has her or his own story about that. For me, as a person who has loved poetry her whole life, and as a writer, she inspired me from the very first encounter with her. And I was actually, I think I was surprised to have not found her sooner. This would have been in the early 1990s. But her poem, The Journey, totally blew my mind. And it just catapulted me into a whole new journey. It truly did. So from that point on, she was a ready companion. I've collected a few of her books. And if you're a person who loves her poetry, if you've not ever treated yourself to having a copy of her poems, a copy of any of her books, by all means, get yourself one. It's one thing to see them or to hear them, because I'm going to share two of them with you on this particular intro video, but it's another whole thing to have yourself a book. I've recently come to own one of her collections called Swan. So just that beautiful thing there. And she has there is some prose that she's written, 2 essays. I think the last book that was published in her lifetime was this one, Upstream. And I'm pleased to have that as well. But do treat yourself to having something that you can go through and discover and take with you, read in bed at night, carry with you. It's simply something we all all should have. We need Mary Oliver with us. So as I prepared to finally get these videos together, here we are now in the spring. And I wanted to share at least one poem while I made this. So let me offer you this one. This one is not on any of the little videos. And I think I should say now that those videos were a little bit, I don't know if I want to say amateur. They were all very sincere, but they were filmed. Here's the point for me to say about them. Each of the poems has me speaking, but you're looking at someplace in the woods or by the stream of this beautiful place called Light Spring Glen. So if you've been hearing about it and wanted to know more, you'll be getting glimpses of it, as well as hearing a set of these poems. I think there are 9 in all. I did not go back and count them up. But here's one that did not get recorded last year, and it's the perfect time of year. It's become one of my very, very favorites. And its title is Spring. Somewhere, a black bear has just risen from sleep and is staring down the mountain. All night, in the brisk and shallow restlessness of early spring, I think of her. Her 4 black fists flicking the gravel, her tongue like a red fire touching the grass, the cold water. There is only one question: how to love this world. I think of her rising like a black and leafy ledge to sharpen her claws against the silence of the trees. Whatever else my life is, with its poems and its music and its glass cities, it is also this dazzling darkness coming down the mountain, breathing and tasting. All day I think of her, her white teeth, her wordlessness, her perfect love. Spring by Mary Oliver. And a quick point to say, comment I guess, is that if you love her poems and have never thought about memorizing one, oh, I would really hope you would do that. It's so many of her poems have this beautiful story to them, and the images and the metaphors just, they're so sensory in their effect on you as you read them. What extraordinary gifts we have through her poems and through her life. So the other poem, and this is one I know I recorded, so you will hear it again if you make your way through the videos. But again, we are leaving winter behind, and it's warming up. We haven't had a really cold winter here in this part of upstate New York. I'm just on the northwest corner of the Catskills. But it is wonderful to have the days lengthening and the warmth building. There'll be some more snow. There'll be some more cold. As well there should be in this in-between seasons that we're in. But one of the first warm days last week, in my Light Spring Glen's position here, we're on a flyway of migrating birds, in particular the geese. So here is Mary Oliver's poem with which I'll conclude this introduction to Summer Mondays with Mary. And it's a poem so beloved. Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the mountains and the deep trees, over, I said that line wrong. Dang it. Mary would probably forgive me, but I'm going to start again, begging your pardon. Wild geese. Hey, it's a performance art, thank you. Ah, I can tell she's forgetting. Wild geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. No matter who you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. Over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. May you be well. May you be visited frequently by Mary Oliver. Take care. Love from Light Spring Glen.